Hey, this is Dave from the Shepherd School, and today we're going to do a little bit of baking. A friend of mine gave me some sourdough starter the other day, so I've been making a lot of sourdough bread. And you might have heard me say this before, but I can either make something that tastes good, or I can make a loaf of bread that's pretty, but I very rarely can pick which one of the two that I want. But as I've been practicing this, I've been getting a little bit better, and so we'll show you some easy ways to make some no-knead sourdough bread. Alright, here's my starter, and we normally keep this in the fridge except for on the weekends, because if we keep it in the fridge it kind of slows down, doesn't eat as much. And then on the weekends I bake, and you want to, every time you use some you want to feed it, and I want to give it some time to build up more yeast before I put it back in the fridge and slow the process down. So I pull some out, about Saturday, and I feed it, and then I put it back in the fridge on Sunday. But as you use it and it's in the fridge, a lot of times this stuff will separate out, and you have a little water on the top, and the dough, I guess, on the bottom. And I don't know if you can see, it's kind of separated out a little bit in there. We just want to stir this up, and it should be about like pancake dough. This is probably a little thin, but I've been using it quite a bit here recently. Used it for some pizza dough last night, and also some bread. And here's our bread as it's been rising, and it's about ready to bake. But let's just show you how to actually use it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is get all your stuff out, and basically we're just using some flour, some self-rising dough. You could use all-purpose flour, it really doesn't matter. Some salt, some water, and we used filtered water because I could let that sit for a couple days. Basically we keep some of that in there because you don't want to use dechlorinated water. So if you're using tap water, you want to let it sit because the chlorination will kill the yeast. So that's just water that sat around in the fridge for a couple days. And then our yeast. And this is a pretty simple recipe. 1, 2, 3. Okay? First you start out with your starter. Use 1 cup of starter. Right? And then the 1, 2, 3. 1 cup of water. 2 tablespoons of salt. 2 teaspoons of salt, whatever. And then 3 things of the flour. So first we'll mess with our starter, and we'll pour out a cup of starter. And when you use your starter, you want to feed it, and so to feed it, basically to replace what we just took, we'll put in some flour, about a cup worth. Okay, so we've used our starter, so now we're going to refeed it. Basically, we're just replacing what we used. So I'll put in about a cup of flour. And about a cup of water. I love these canning funnels. They're about indispensable for all the messing around I do. And then we'll just stir that back up. Let it mix, and that gives the little yeast something to eat. And then I've got it in a mason jar because it's simple, but I want a little bit of air to be able to release, so I'm using the canning lid, but I'm just putting the ring on. It's not actually tightened, it's just so it won't fall off. And we'll just sit that somewhere for the rest of the day to let the yeast grow. So now we'll put in we'll go 3, 2, 1. That's 2. That's another 1. So that's my 2 cups of, or 3 cups of flour. My teaspoon here. 1, 2, and then my cup of water. And it's not really all that exact. Now all we're going to do is stir that up and make a dough. And I'm probably going to have to put in a little extra flour. That was probably too much. Okay, see how it's coming together? Okay. Okay. Now we're just going to cover this and let it sit in a warm area for about 8 hours. And so we'll use our other dough now. Alright, so we got a nice little flour table there. And we've got a pan and a little bit of shortening. And we're just going to grease our pan a little bit. Now, I seen a real good recipe on YouTube, and I can't remember the lady's username, but I was just Googling sourdough bread, and she had a recipe for authentic San Francisco sourdough that used an enamel pot with a lid, and what she did is she just threw it in the pot in the oven at 500 degrees and heated, lid and all, and then she just took the dough and dumped it in the enameled container and baked it for about 20 minutes with no lid, and then 20 minutes with the lid, and it came out great. And when I tried that, the bread was awesome, but she didn't grease the pot or anything, and apparently her pot's different than mine because mine burned to the bottom and it wouldn't come out. I had to like break it to get it out. The bread was great, but I couldn't hardly use it, and that's why we're using the greased loaf pan. It won't be as authentic as her recipe, and you want to just gently kind of peel that away. I'm not going to knead that very much. I'm just kind of going to pull it in to the sides and just dump it right in there. Kind of form the loaf. Then I'm just going to take a little knife and cut. I think it looks prettier, but what that does is it gives the crust some places to break open so it doesn't crack. And then that's all there is to it, and I'm preheating the oven, and when the oven's heated up, I will throw that in there. But for now, I'm just going to cover that and let it rise a little bit while I am waiting on the oven. Okay, so we had it at about 500, and we did it for about, we ended up having to add a little bit of time, so we did it about 30 minutes. And here's what it looks like. Now we're just going to dump it off on a cooling rack. Hot. There we go. That last little 5 minutes was probably just a little too long. we're going to let this cool for a minute, and then we'll come back and cut it open and see what it looks like on the inside. Hopefully this one will taste good because it broke up, so it doesn't look all that good. So that is a pretty good texture, though. That's pretty good. So, anyway, I'm getting better with practice. But if you want to try sourdough, that's about the easiest way of doing it. So until next time, we'll catch you online. www.teaandgun.com.
I've got a plan, fits my point of view. I'm